All right, let's dive straight into this explainer. If you're paying any attention to the AI space right now, you've definitely heard of NotebookLM. But today we're looking way past the obvious, flashy headlines. We're going to focus on a specific feature that, honestly, most users are completely sleeping on. It's a hidden gem that literally takes the absolute chaos of your scattered notes and transforms them into something incredibly structured and visually crystal clear. Because right now, while everyone is caught up in the massive hype of one specific tool on the platform, there's a visual, branching hero just sitting right there on your screen. And it actually solves the single most frustrating part of AI research. You know how it goes. We get so distracted by the flashy outputs that we totally miss the utilities designed to genuinely improve how we think. So we really have to ask ourselves, are we actually using this platform to its full potential? Or are we just scratching the surface and ignoring its most powerful asset? Let's start by looking beyond the audio hype and trace the evolution of NotebookLM. So how did we get here? And why did this incredibly useful feature get buried under a mountain of headlines? Well, looking at this timeline, you can see its scrappy, bare-bones start as a Google Labs experiment months ago. It always had that core magic of dropping in your sources and chatting with them. But then, boom, weeks ago, Audio Overviews launched, and it was a viral explosion. Suddenly, everyone was talking about these AI podcast hosts summarizing their documents. Now, mind maps? They actually arrived shortly after that massive wave. But because the internet was entirely obsessed with the audio feature, the mind maps never quite got their spotlight moment. They just quietly sat there. Until just days ago, when a crucial customization update rolled out, which, spoilers, changes the game entirely. Now, don't get me wrong, the audio feature is fascinating, but audio overviews get weird when juggling a lot of sources. While giving you a broad, entertaining overview is fantastic for a high-level summary, the audio workflow basically falls apart the second you try to manage dozens of highly technical or complex documents at once. Think about it. You can't exactly interact with an audio file to dig deeper into a specific citation, right? Or visually see how 50 different documents connect. It just doesn't work for that. Which brings us to the chat panel friction and the core problem with asking AI. This really highlights the original core workflow of dropping in sources to chat with them. It introduces a massive layer of hidden friction that, honestly, we often just accept as normal. Just think about this quote: "The chat panel only helps if you know what to ask." This is the biggest hurdle to synthesizing facts across a ton of documents. You have to already know what's inside your sources in order to formulate the right prompts. It is a total catch-22. I mean, how are you supposed to ask the AI about some brilliant connection between document A and document D if you haven't even read them yet? If you don't know the material yet, you end up trapped in this trial and error loop. First, you're guessing what might be in the text. Then you're asking a super broad, generic question. You get a single, linear response back, and from there, you're just trying to guess the next logical question to ask. You are basically feeling your way through a dark room. It's the slow, tedious process of trial and error that costs you time and cognitive energy. And actually, scratch that, it completely defeats the purpose of an AI assistant that's supposed to speed up your synthesis in the first place. So let's move from chaos to clarity and look at visualizing the solution. This comparison perfectly illustrates where the mind map comes in. It acts as a bird's eye view to completely erase all that mess and confusion we just talked about. Instead of the chat panel's frustrating trial and error approach, the mind map is all about seeing the shape of everything right up front. You get this beautiful, branching whiteboard diagram that automatically lays out the main topics and clearly shows you how they connect, all at a single glance. Literally, before you even type a single keystroke, the AI is mapping out the entire territory for you. And the true game changer here? It's the interactive node. Every single node on this mind map is interactive. What that means is you don't have to type out a carefully crafted prompt to learn more. You literally just click a branch. When you do, NotebookLM immediately provides a focused, detailed explanation about that specific topic, pulling directly from your sources. It completely removes the barrier between you and the information you actually want. It completely flips the whole interaction model on its head. Instead of you trying to magically work out what questions to ask, the map shows you exactly what's worth asking about. It's the only output in NotebookLM Studio that lets you visually trace how an idea in one source links to an idea in another, in a way you can actually follow. It takes those invisible threads connecting your research and just draws them out right in front of you. However, for a long time, the auto-generated map had a fatal flaw. We can call it the sprawling web problem. Because it tried to automatically map every single possible connection across all your sources at once, it scaled terribly. I mean, if you had 3 or 4 sources, totally fine. It looked great. But the moment you uploaded 12, 20, or 30 sources, it turned into this overwhelming, unreadable, sprawling web. And as we all know, a map that shows you everything all at once is functionally the exact same as a map that shows you nothing.
Which brings us to the customization game changer, prompt-based control.
This brings us to the ultimate solution, thanks to a massive update rolled out just a few weeks ago that finally perfected this feature. And the fix is incredibly simple, but impossibly powerful. Right next to the mind map tile, there is now a tiny little pencil icon. You just click that icon, type in your prompt to set a specific focus, hit generate, and instantly you receive a custom map. You are turning the mind map into a highly focused, directable tool right on your digital whiteboard.
So the absolutely crucial point here is that you get a map shaped by what you asked for, not what an algorithm guessed you wanted. You are pointing the AI at the exact thread you were trying to follow, rather than relying on generic, broad algorithmic assumptions about your messy notes. Basically, you take the steering wheel back. To really put this into perspective, let's look at the power of the number 1. Imagine you have a notebook stuffed full of dozens of dense lecture slides for a massive final exam. Previously, trying to map this would be a complete nightmare, but now, you can prompt the map to flawlessly track just one specific concept, say a specific economic theory or a single historical figure, and watch it trace that one single thread perfectly across every single unit in your entire notebook. The benefits of this customization are absolutely massive. You get a far narrower focus, you get an actually readable diagram instead of a messy spiderweb, it surfaces only the specific connections you need for your current task. And honestly, the best part, if you do want to zoom out and see that grand, chaotic everything map, you can just skip the prompt and generate it the old way. It's entirely tailored to your exact workflow in that exact moment. This single update elevates the mind map from a neat visual trick to an indispensable research tool. It completely takes the friction out of synthesis and puts clarity right in front of your eyes. Which leaves us with just one question. Now that you can literally draw a map through your most chaotic thoughts, what are you going to build with it? I highly encourage you to go open up NotebookLM and try this prompt-based visualizer for yourself. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and hey, happy mapping!